to see if that works.
Sure. Give me a second, sorry.
While she's setting that up, I'll let her introduce herself later. But Miriam is going to be recording, and Viola will basically talk through a lot of her entrepreneurial journeys and how she's used tech to incorporate better inclusion as well as innovation within education. So if you're stuck in a product idea or you're struggling to find a solution with your teammates, then this is an awesome opportunity for you to get some inspiration so you have a clearer idea of what kind of problems you probably want to tackle. Out of curiosity, Miriam, are you able to admit and reject people when they enter?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, sure. Okay, I'll take it to you guys then. Thanks, Viola.
Yeah, so can you guys see the screen properly?
Yeah.
So literally, because I'm using Team at the moment, so thank you so much for having me today. I'm really happy to have this sharing to all of you this afternoon, especially I'm having a fever right now, having a flu, so it's not really perfect fit at this moment. So I'm trying to have one more device with me when I see the Q&A. So if you guys can't see the screen, let me know. So let me introduce myself a little bit. I'm Viola, and good to have you all. And I'm also the CEO and founder of Find Solution AI. So I used to be a teacher. So today we'd like to share a little bit about how I start my entrepreneurship and how tech is going on in Hong Kong and what is the EdTech problems that we're facing at the moment, especially in Hong Kong. So if you have any questions, so text me or whatever, you can leave a Q&A at the back so we can jump right back to it when the time is right, okay? So you guys can see the screen clearly? Anyone?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So my company called Find Solution AI, the major reason why it is we wanted to help people to find their own solution. So I used to be a teacher. So normally for teacher, if they have to understand if the teams or the students, are they really working well? Normally in the past, so the teacher only can see the very first 5% if they're really doing well, or the last 5% if they're really doing really bad. So normally if a teacher can recall your name, normally it's not something really good stuff. So literally that is the reason why we started our journey. We built multiple softwares. At this moment, we built more than 3 softwares by now. One of them is called Follow Trees. One of them is called Chunks. Follow Tree is an exam assessment. Chunks is a video learning system, which enable everybody to learn using video. So it's very easy to use. Last but not least, we also have built some AI content in order to let everyone to learn what is AI and which is easier for everybody to learn and studies. So by now, Find Solution AI, we are very lucky. We have almost 24 locals and international awards. In Hong Kong, ICT Gold Award from 2018-19, we on behalf of Hong Kong, we get to APAC, over 35 country education, we got the biggest award. Last year, we also I got the Women Entrepreneur Award as well. So it's quite a lot of different awards here and there. So the reason why I start my company is, this is my third company, I would say. The very first one is an education center. I opened 3 different centers on my own in order to teach kids from mathematics, science, because I do believe if you teach somebody something new, then it can change their life for good. So literally, I've been starting in 2012 till now. The company, literally for Find Solution, we founded in 2016. We so far till now, we raised around $6 million already. We get through the Series A, and then we're doing an A+ at the moment. We have 4 granted patents already. So literally one of the most core algorithm that we built is motivation AI. So it's using, let's say if you have a phone, you can directly see if that person, when they're learning, but we don't do any recording. We just real time see their response, if they really are studying well or do they need help, that kind of thing. So it's really helping a lot of kids at the moment. In Hong Kong, we're serving around 100 schools at the moment in Hong Kong. Other than that, so this is the app that you see in most of the schools that they are using. So that app is called as 4 Little Trees. So 4 Little Trees is helping a lot of Can you guys see the screen clearly now?
Yep.
Let me put it here so it's easier. So you guys still can see the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So Four Little Trees has been using in multiple schools and multiple, especially for the schools that they're having exams, assessments. So what we do is Four Little Trees is really fun to work with. So you have a phone, you have an iPad, you can do your homework, you can do your classwork right there. And then we directly can see your emotions, we directly can see your learning behaviors, but not monitoring because it's just real-time measurement. But using the software, real-time response to what kind of questions that you need to do, what kind of question that you don't need to do that much. So Four Little Trees is already working with multiple platforms and stuff. So let me move to the next page. So a lot of people will ask why I'll start the business like this and why I start to be an entrepreneur. Most of the biggest reason behind it is when there's a problem that you want to solve it, you want to solve it for good. But there is a lot of boundaries, a lot of limitation, but growth mindset will push you a little bit forward. So that is the reason why at that moment it's quite fun because I have 3 centers. At the highest point, I have over 20 teachers in my house. So that is the reason why I really want to use tech in order to see how we can help the kids better. Because believe me, if you doing any teaching or if you're doing any classes, especially when one teacher facing more than 8 kids, the teacher is already overwhelmed with a lot of workload, a lot of stuff. So it's really difficult to let them to go further, especially to help them. But starting a business is not really easy stuff, as long as if you have an idea, but it's not good enough. The major reason why is, let me ask a question. Can we do Q&A stuff during the section also? Is that okay? Yeah. So let me ask. Let's see who get it right. Okay. Maybe I can give you guys a small gift later on. Okay. How many % the company will fail after 5 years for startups? Okay. Let me give you a choice to choose. So A, 80%, B, 85%, C, 90%, D, 95%.
Maybe people can just put their answers in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see the chat thought. Anyone? So, how many of you think is A? Give me a hand or I'm trying really hard in order to see the Q&A part. Where's the chat part?
I think we have a lot of people. We have 3 people saying 95%, 5 people saying 90%, and 2 people saying 85%.
Okay, some of them get it right already. So literally, I will tell you is more than 95%. That is the failure rate. The major reason why is a lot of people, they think of a new idea to grow, a new idea in terms of business, but the hardest truth is this kind of idea, the biggest problem when they hit the market is the market doesn't really see that is a demand right there. So when you design something, when you start a business, when you start a project, you need to understand 2 things. First of all, your pain point isn't really the pain point that you are facing while the others are having the same thing. Second thing is how you can monetize it, how you can commercialize it in a good way. The major reason why in Hong Kong it is so difficult, especially a lot of tech companies, when they started in Hong Kong nicely, lovely, when they grow, all of them, they I would say literally they flee out of Hong Kong, they just buy Hong Kong. The major reason why is in order to have tech adaptation or they need to launch something in tech in Hong Kong, it's not so easy, I will say. So that is the reason why, especially when you guys are thinking a new project, when you guys are working on a hackathon, don't just think about yourself. You need to think a little bit further ahead. Especially you need to think if the market, do they really have this kind of need? And do they really have this kind of effect? If you build something like this, what is the market value? That is the core part. Give me a second. Okay. So there's a lot of ups and downs in entrepreneurship, I would say. So till now, I've been studying for almost 3 industries. My very first one is education centers. Education centers, it takes me 6 months in order to do break even and starting to earn money. So I walk through different kind of steps. And then the second industry that I have been working with is media company. I start from scratch. I built a media company. So that company, I literally exited in a good way. In the past, I worked with Durex. I worked with Heineken for their digital marketing for almost 6 years. So that one is using your ideas that you can build different ideas, build different projects for them. So it also brings me quite a fortune. And then this is the current business that I'm working with, Find Solution AI. So this one, by far, I have invested most. I bootstrapped almost $2 million on my own from the previous earning and until now. So if you really wanted to start your own business, I guess there's a lot of speakers today. They mention you a lot of the different ways in order to design stuff, different ways in order to push your product to the market. But the most important thing is there's 3 important things that you need to bring along with you. The very first one is the passion. It's not just about money. The product that you build, it has to help people in a good way, that it changed their life. So people will get really interested in order to help them. Second thing is your team, how you're going to commercialize it, how you're going to market it. Because if you build a very good product, but nobody going to sell it. Let's say if you have a very nice piece of bread or whatever it is, but if your product is just sitting on the table, then it won't move, it won't go further. So how you can build better? So it totally depends on how you're going to build your team and how you're going to market the things in a good way. And the most important thing is personality. The reason why is, I'm not sure if your class is already have some reading on growth mindset, fixed mindset. And nowadays, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of startups, they need to learn a lot of stuff because you're not born to be a boss. You're not born to be a programmer. You're not born to be a designer, but you need to non-stop learning something new. So believe me or not, lately I'm still looking for learning in a lot of things. So myself, I'm learning how to cook at the moment. I'm also learning building some of my algorithm because especially if you work in a company, if you know the operation good enough, you need to know how you can build stuff, especially you can train people to build your stuff. But other than that, if you don't have the growth mindset, it will really say, because a lot of people, they will say, Viola, I don't know this, I don't know that. So that is the reason why you need to ask somebody else to do it, but not me. So growth mindset, it helps a lot of people, especially no matter for tech startup, no matter for educators, even you guys. So growth mindset, it makes a very big difference. So let me ask one more question. Let's have a wild guess. Who get it right, I give you a coffee coupon, a Starbucks one. I'll send it back to Justin and Justin hand it to you guys. So this is no multiple choice, but let you guys guess. Do you know when I start my very first company? How old was I start my very first company? So let everybody have a wild guess this time. The very first one who get it right, I'll send a Starbucks coupon to that person, or Sasa coupon, beauty coupon, $100. Let's see who get it right. Everybody have a chance.
Including myself.
Yeah, please. I'm sorry, I'm having a flu, so it's not really my best day, okay? I'll take it slow. So anyone, let's see, because I'm trying to use this team for chat function. I'm trying really hard in order to see where's the chat that part. God. Anyone? Let's see. By now I'm 35 years old. Guess. It won't too bad to guess in a good way, okay? I can't see the chat bubble. I need to count on you guys to tell me the Q&A because I really can't see it, sorry.
Yeah, so maybe we'll give them like another minute to respond because we're getting a lot of responses.
Really?
And then you can reveal
How
the
come
answer.
I can't see the Q&A that part? God.
Oh, it's in the chat.
Yeah, but I don't know why it's not there. It's weird.
Okay, yeah, we'll give everyone just 30 more seconds to respond.
Okay, let's see.
No, you can't guess multiple times. It's cheating.
Good. Maybe I can't see the chat part, sorry. Okay, so I started my very first company when I'm 22 years old. Anyone? Anyone get it right? Nobody.
I got it right.
Who was that? Congrats! I'll send you that coupon later on, okay? So make you guys have more fun, okay? So let me get back to the products that I've built in the past. So I hope it is not too boring, but today, sorry that it's not my best day because I literally have fever, flu, a headache, God. I didn't get out of my room for 2 days already. Don't worry, it's not COVID. So literally I built 3 products. The very first one is for little trees. The major reason why I wanted to build this is because if you're in Chinese classrooms or if you're in Asian classroom, they are so afraid of asking questions. The major reason why, hey, if you guys can show your screen or show your camera or stuff, that is easier for me so I can see if you guys like it or not, something like that. So for little trees is built to see the people response. The major reason why is, for example, like today just now, like I'm using Team in order to wanted to have interaction with you guys. It's so difficult because I can't see the chat, I can't see your face, and I can't see everything. So, but believe me, when you doing your own teaching, especially if it is in a class, it's also a similar case because literally everybody, they cannot focus so much on people's face, but you need tech in order to help on it. So we're using for little trees to see the response of learning and real-time response to it, but not just by the teacher, but by the software. So Chunk is a video streaming platform. So it's like Netflix. So you can type a keyword, but for example, for like all the Zoom or all the video conferencing like just now, then everything will put it inside the platform. So when you type a keyword, then you can directly see everything. So later on, I can show you some demo. And last but not least, so this is the AI coding app as well. So we have been helping Hong Kong T and some of the schools that, because a lot of schools, they ask about what is AI. So that is the reason why we built it. And then we also want to help different kids out as well. So question time. But just now I also mentioned some of the answers as well. So what is the biggest pain point for teachers, especially for doing remote learning? Let's see who get it right, okay? Any answers from the floor? What is the biggest pain point for teachers nowadays?
Some of the responses are students not paying attention and students' focus.
Let me tell you the hardest one. Let's see who got it right. The hardest one is interaction. The major reason why is if you're doing interaction in the past, so it's physical interactions. For example, if you're falling asleep, so the teacher will say, hey, are you doing well? Something like that. But then if it is online, if it is remote learning, let's say today we have over 20 people joining this class. But when I wanted to interact with one-on-one, personalized, it's so difficult. And then especially for teacher, in order to see if that person is really studying well, it's also very difficult as well. So for teachers, most of them, they having a lot of different problems, especially like admin works. They need to memorize different kids' issue because you guys, the parents, will go to the teacher and ask, hey, how Justin doing? Hey, how Ryan doing? That kind of shit, right? But the point is, the teacher normally, they will just blah, blah, blah. To be honest, they don't know. Nobody knows. And the most important thing is, if you want to know the progress, normally it has to be coming from a lot of presentation, a lot of homeworks that you guys have, classwork, but it's already delayed for weeks. So it's not real-time response. So that's why we built for Little Trees. So this app is already in use in almost 100 schools in Hong Kong. So it's a game app-based. So real time we see the learning behavior of the kids, and then real time people can ask questions. And then so the AI is like a mini robot. We can see people respond, but by giving them different questions in a good way. This one, we literally rolled it out 2-3 years ago. The first year we have 34 schools joining, now last year 19. This year we're aiming to have almost 150 schools. So among 20% of the market share in Hong Kong. So let me play you a very small video so you understand how it's gonna work. So if it is in a classroom setting, normally you look boring or you're really struggling. So using the app, literally we will give you the real and the good questions based on your learning behavior, but we don't record any videos. But we do real-time prediction on your exam result. We also do what kind of content that triggers your negative emotions. So that is the thing that we will alert the teacher so they can teach better, especially in class. So the motivation AI, we do multiple emotion detection. These are the emotion detection things that we're doing. So we do real-time detection, but we don't record the video. We can see all these micro expression, especially we look for the negative emotion, for example, like anger. When you're working on a homework, you look angry, right? Anger, happiness, or sadness, that kind of thing, we want to locate it. So we can know what kind of content that it triggers that kind of behavior. So the AI behind it, the algorithm that behind it is, we're using the emotion input or the real-time measurement. We build multiple CNN layer in order to see what kind of emotions that person may have. But those are the response time is only 0.1 second. So we don't need to collect any videos, but real-time measurement of the muscle points, we directly can see the learning behavior of the person, if the person is studying well, the person needs help, or the other things. So we're very lucky. In several months ago, in February, our company and our stories has been covered by CNN as well. The very first EdTech, especially covered by CNN, talking using emotion detection and also using motivation AI in order to help people to learn better. So this is some of the press. You can Google it later on if you're interested in. So how does the algorithm works in order to do performance prediction? The most important thing is, let's say if you studying, let's say if you do multiple questions, so how the computer know that if you're doing right or if you're doing wrong, but how about the future? So in the future, if you're gonna be having the same grade or not. So motivation AI, we will do it in this way. So we gather multiple data, we gather your emotion data. Meanwhile, we also have your performance data. Let's say if you do question 1 correct, the number 2 is wrong, number 3 is correct, number 4 is correct. So how about number 5? So in this algorithm, we put in 2 different algorithm sideline as well. The most important thing is we also added in case, sorry, in case if the learners, they may forget something as well. So the motivation AI and the performance prediction, they can do 2 different things. First of all, based on the forgetfulness of the person. So we can predict, let's say, if Justin or Ryan later on, after 2 weeks later, if they're doing the same question, will they get it right or wrong? That's the first thing. Second thing is, based on that, we can find out what kind of questions that you have really good points that you do it. So the system, by the algorithm, they will send you less or more different kinds of questions based on your behavior. So you don't need a teacher like me in order to give you the right questions, but using the algorithm itself. So it's more spontaneous and it's more easy and it's more fun for the teachers to work together. So other than 4 little trees, so the biggest problem for education startup in Hong Kong, or not just in Hong Kong, in worldwide. So education startup, normally they need to work with different parties, especially they need to work with schools, they need to work with teachers, they need to work with institutes. So let me have another question time to give you guys more fun to work with. So what is the biggest loophole or the biggest challenge that education company they may have? Looking from this slide. So there's a lot of answers that you can choose from, but which one is the biggest concern or biggest challenge that it also jeopardizes a lot of education companies when they wanted to go further? Anyone?
Wait, is the answer like on there?
Sorry?
The answer on there, or it just similar?
Sorry, I don't hear you.
I think they're asking if the question, if the answer to your question is on the image that you showed. I think you said yes, right?
Oh, finally I can get the chat out. Oh, so bad. So anyone who can tell me what is the biggest challenges for education startups when they're working in EdTech area? So let me tell you the answers. So the biggest problem that they have is content. The major reason why it's content, it looks like it's for free, but the point is, in every area, let's say in Hong Kong, they have their own curriculum. Let's say if they're in UK, if they're in Australia, if they're in the US, everybody have different they have their own content, and which their content is not synchronized with each of the areas. So whenever an education startup, they need to work on something because learning is always coming up with content. So the copyright issue, the content issue, it triggers a lot of problems. So that is the reason why our company, in order to solve it, we also build our own learning material by ourselves. But it takes very long time. But meanwhile, you can work with other companies that it can help you to go further. So for the pain point of remote learning, just now I've been mentioned, the difficult part is the interaction part. Because the interaction part, if you cannot do it really well, it's not fun, and it's also really difficult to interact with your audience, for learning, for everything. So that is the reason why we build Chunks. So 4 Little Tree is an exam assessment tools, but for Chunk it's more fun, but it's a video platform. You can do live. Meanwhile, you can share your content, you can share your videos, you can make a living from it. So literally, this one we co-developed with Chinese University of Hong Kong, the AI Virtual Lab. So we can do live video conferencing just like Zoom or Teams is doing. But the most important thing is we do it at the back. We build all these kind of video library by just typing a keyword, but we based on the learning behavior of that person, we auto-suggest you in order to let you to learn better by using different keywords and stuff. Last but not least, we do all the auto transcript, and the highlight of the product is we do the summary of the transcript itself. So it's quite fun to work with. If you guys have time, I can show you a demo later on if you guys want. Because I can't see the chat, so it's more fun. Next time, I hope the chat is working. So the technology, that part, how it's gonna work. So let me explain the tech area that is gonna cover in this way. So normally, when you're having a video conferencing, normally you have a sound track, the recording, you will have a video track, So video is all the images, all the track right there. And meanwhile, how we're gonna do is we will base on the soundtrack and then also the imaging. Let's say now you see my screen in this way. If we change to another screen, to this screen, then literally the algorithm can detect which part they have been changing the slide, and then based on the conversation or the transcript that person have, and then they can make summaries based on these kind of video and soundtrack. The core idea is to shrink the whole meeting. Let's say today we have 1 hour lecturing or teaching section, right? So let's say when there is some glitch or when there is some bloody blah stuff you don't want to hear it, you can cut it out, but using the tech, using the software itself. So this is what we have been working with. And the most important thing is we believe if we can empower knowledge sharing, so everybody can use this platform, they can share the knowledge to everyone for good. And meanwhile, we also build another side platform called Finals. So literally, it's parallel with chunks, it parallel with following trees, but this one is academic based. So all the TOEFL learning, GRE learning, all the exam academic learning, videos sharing, that kind of thing, everything will be on Finals. So we're very lucky. We have been working with Cyberport and FSTB, one of the government department, that using this platform in order to do knowledge sharing, especially for fintech training in Hong Kong. And then meanwhile, we also partner with TOEFL and GRE using these platforms for TOEFL and GRE learning. So later on, if you guys need to go for a GRE exam, very likely you also can adopt one of our solutions as well. So last but not least, for EdTech startups, normally they have a lot of difficulties, especially for building their own contents. So, and there's a lot of misunderstanding for tech as well. So that is the reason why we also build with Hong Kong Tea Education, we build with UC Berkeley Data X Lab. So we build some modules that people can learn AI for good using the iPad, and meanwhile they can do their own coding on their own. So later on, I guess today the hackathon, you guys also will build some of the algorithm on your own. So if you have more questions, you can ask me later on. Last but not least, if you in this class, I do believe that you guys wanted to be an entrepreneur someday. Don't estimate what you can achieve. Sorry. And you have to believe in who you are, because when I'm building my softwares, normally there's a lot of ups and downs. My investor, they don't like the idea, or my users, when they have complaints from here and there. But you need to change all this kind of stress, become a good way in order to make your product grow better. So don't take a no as answer, but you need to take a no as why and how you can do better. So you need to believe in who you are so you can do better. And I'm really thankful about my investor as well. So that is the reason why we have been non-stop innovating for different kinds of softwares for good. And then they didn't stop us. So last but not least, we have been working with UCL for quite some time for all the research program, and with CU HK as well. We have 5 patents by now. And these are some of my exposure from different kinds of events and different kinds of press. And this is my contact if you guys wanted to ask any question after the summer, or if you want to know more, you can ask me later. But last but not least, I promise you guys to show you the demo. So I hope you guys can see it. So let me show you a quick demo as well. So this is the chunks platform that we built. Literally the transcript that you can choose it on your own. So we also recruiting some of the English teachers or some students that if you love to share some learnings on your own, then you can use this platform. You can share it to whoever you want. We support Japanese, English, and let's say if I open a waiting room, so literally this one can go on live, just like just now. And this is my room, and this is me again. But this software, the core part is all the learning, all the video, all the things that it will put it using our algorithm to do the summary of the video, which means that you don't need to edit it so much times. And meanwhile, you can see my pimple really clearly. Ah, God. So this is Chang. And then one of our hosts is using this platform, is also doing financial sharing. Very first month, he's using this, he's earning for $300 per month. By now, he's almost earning 10,000 per month US dollars already using this software. So if you have any knowledge you want to share and you wanted to empower people to learn better, welcome to join us. And we actively working on English. We're working on TOEFL, IELTS, that kind of thing. So let me know if you guys are interested. So that is almost the end of my sharing. So we have plenty of time. You guys, if you have any ideas you want to share with me, any question you want to share with me, feel free to ask. But I need Justin to help. Justin, can you, if you have question, you can share it to my WhatsApp or whatsoever so I can see the questions. I'm really sorry I cannot activate the team chat function.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Miriam, you mind sending me the questions? I will send it directly to Miss Viola Lam.
Yeah. So any questions from the floor? Normally I do this kind of training and stuff. I also, this year I've been doing a lot of mentorship to different students or different startups. As long as, because this experience, it helps a lot. So you guys feel free to ask me questions, because in the past, when I'm doing this kind of panels and stuff, normally the one who asks the most questions, finally they join us eventually. They become one of the unicorn, they become one of the boss. But because startup is always people, always that kind of people that will ask questions. Yeah, I got the very first question. Okay.
Just quick note. Oh, sorry, so just quick note. If you have questions, just send them on the team's chat. I would directly send them to Miss Viola Lam. Yeah,
I'm pretty sorry that I don't know why. Tim is always not a big fan for me. Okay, so I got 3 questions by now. So if you have more questions, feel free to ask. So I'll ask the very first one. So if you're the one who asked, show me your face. Okay, I really want to talk to you. Okay, don't worry. So the first question is, in creating a solution to a problem, what do you think is the most important aspect for the solution that young entrepreneur focus on? Oh, what kind of things that you should focus on is something that you feel itchy about, something that it troubles you a lot. The reason why I built those software is when I was teaching, I used to have almost 200 students in my watch, in my center, only by me, but not the other colleagues. But the biggest pain point is, to be honest, I have no idea how they are doing unless I give them a test or exam, which I don't want to. So that is the reason why I wanted to have a game-based app so everybody can enjoy learning while I can real-time understand if that person is doing well or not well. So I don't need to ask them, hey, are you doing good? Hey, you're not doing good, that kind of thing. So when you work on something, look for the pain point that people have. And especially you feel the pain also, or you feel the itchy point, because pain is not good enough, but itchy, it cannot walk away. So find the itchy point that you believe that is hectic for you enough that you make an action. Then you also can see who also suffer from it. Then they are your customers. Okay. So I know you guys are students, so maybe your vision is different. So go talk to your parents, go talk to your friends, find your older friends, find different gap. Let's say, find some elderlies. They also have different pain points. Something that they feel pain about it. Not just only you see yourself in this area, but you need to see different areas. Okay. So the second question is, how do you determine the effectiveness of the solution that you create? Good question. So literally we work with Stanford, we work with UCL, we also work with CUHK. We work with different schools in order to see the effectiveness. So by far, using emotion detection, the accuracy rate is around 80 something. So if it is good label data, it can go up to 80, 89, 85%. It depends on what kind of content that they have a better labeling. I think this question underneath is, do you have grounds when you build something? So for us, before we roll the software out, we literally work in our own centers, 3 different centers, over 200 kids, before we send it out to schools. And one of the customers, the reason why we sell it to school is one of the customers, their children, they study in my center, and the parents is the school principal of one of the schools. So that is the reason why they say, hey, why don't you sell it at school so it can help different schools as well. So that is the reason why. So the most important thing is when you build a product, you need to find the accuracy, you need to find the effectiveness. So we also run multiple research. So we work with Chinese University for 2 different research, one with UCL, and also coming one will be working with one of the Ivy Leagues as well. Okay, so that is the third question. So when the tech, how do you think problem in education will change? And what do you think will be the next big issue facing the education sector? Oh God, this is a good one. So education, the biggest problem is for the governor and for the teacher, for the principal whatsoever, they have no idea how the kids is performing. So that's why they put in a lot of exam, a lot of tests, a lot of assessment in order to see if the kids is responding well. But the point is there is a lot of big gaps between, not just communication gap, but it's the cognitive gap between different parties. Because the information between these parties, let's say the students, let's say the parents, let's say the teachers, they are not really linked to each other. So the information, it's not really easy or transparent to share. So let's say if you have something messed up at home, normally the parents won't share it to the teachers. Same happens to the school. Let's say if your school have major issue, they also won't share it to the parents because they want to hide it. But the point is, if it is for learning, the transparency is important in order to have a good communication or good interaction. So I think in the coming future, especially when the data, it can be shared, or the content, it can be shared among the schools. So these kind of challenges will be a lot better. And the biggest issue that I will say in the education center is because of COVID. In these 3 years, so starting from 2019, last year and this year, literally we have 3 years, most of the time, a lot of people, I will say it's a learning gap year for a lot of people. Whoever who's studying during these 3 years, because some of your time that you're not studying at school. So you're studying either using Zoom, using video conferences. But the point is, let's say the ones that who doesn't have a good Wi-Fi connection, or let's say if you have 3 kids, but you only have 2 devices at home, something like that. So there is a major learning gap within these 3 years that it has not been covered at all, no matter in Hong Kong, no matter in worldwide. So that is going to be a very big issue. And we also see some of the graduate that, let's say when they get into university and then they start COVID. So the 3 years university life, we have hired almost 10 interns this year. And we literally can see a very big difference from the previous years and to this year, because all the social skills, all the normal working behavior, all these kind of things is gone. So there's 3 things that people need to consider. First is the learning gap that is so huge. The content or the learning has to be done, but it hasn't been covered, no matter in using tech or no matter what. So what is going to do with that kind of thing? That's the first thing. Second thing is, for the ones that who is living in developing countries, if they have disease, when they get sick, when they don't have enough tech, if they don't have enough computer, so what is next for them? So that part is also very important. So the last part is, when they have such a gap, how can they bridge it with the fellow years later on? Because it's not fair for the ones that who let's say because of COVID, these 3 years, everybody studied behind the screen and stuff, but the core learning, some of the element is gone. Because learning is not just the knowledge itself, but it's about social skills, it's about the communication skills, it's about the networking opportunities. So all these is gone as well. So I hope some days or in the future, especially you guys, if you guys working in the SDG project, or if you guys are working on UN activities or whatsoever, I hope this is the thing that people should consider and should think about it, because they change a lot of people's life. Yeah? Do we have more questions from the floor, or feel free to ask me? Because I can't see the chat. Anyone, you guys are working on hackathon, some of the ideas that you want to share, you wanted to see the viability, if your idea is good or not, something like that. Feel free to ask, because I will say, if you join a hackathon, the most important thing is friendship. You know some of your friends, someday later, it can be your co-founder or whatever it is. Second thing is you need to learn the experience, then you can perform better. So any more questions?
I think we have another question. I'll just read it out. So how can we determine if an idea is worth pursuing? How do you think we can, during the brainstorming process, how can people decide on narrowing down their scope? Yeah.
Okay, so if you have an idea process, so let me go back to this slide so you know where it's coming from. So when you think of a business idea, so you always believe that you are the one who are holding the star in the back like heroes, like a superhero, right? But the point is, before you getting there, there's 3 things that you need to look into. First of all, let me show you the entrepreneur stuff. Okay. First of all, the reason why I put this slide is when you have your idea there, there's 3 different important things that you need to see. First, I will see the risk. The major reason why is if your idea is that legit, is that legal, is that really helpful for the community. So that part is the most important thing. Second thing is when you're doing this idea, who's going to benefit from it? Who's going to benefit from it? It's not just you. It's the beneficial of using your new product. Is it better than the old ones? Because your innovation, when you think of an idea, is always good. Believe me, you will have that hundreds of ideas and hundreds of reasons in order to support that my idea is the best. While no matter whoever say no is not good, right? But the point is these ideas, first of all, you need to get through these 3 things. Legal, does it pass? Is that, let's say if you have an idea doing cryptocurrency in Hong Kong, you cannot do it, something like that. So is it legally viable? Second thing is the market big enough? Is the idea new enough? If it is so new, why no one is working on it? You need to find it out why. Because this kind of why, it always come along with, do you have the team or resources to build it? So 3 things, remember? First is legally, does it allowed? So don't tell me you're going to build something earning a lot of money by doing something illegal. That is not okay. Second is that kind of business, if that's so profitable or the idea is so good, why no one is working on it? You need to find out the real reason behind it. Last part is your team or your network, does it cover the things that you need? Then that is the most important thing. Last is it's not just you execute it, but you build a very small pilot or build a very small thing in order to test the market. Don't make it big. Make a very small MVP. You tried it. And if you really love it, then it means that it is something really good. And maybe you're going to be the next unicorn. You never know. Okay? Any more questions? Sorry.
For anyone who wants to ask any questions.
Over a year, sorry. Yeah?
Oh, no. Just like a note for anyone who wants to ask any questions, feel free to send them in the chat because we still have some time for some more questions. Another question is, so you talked a lot about like the importance of like the important steps that go into like developing a product. And so do you have any advice for which step you think maybe is the most important or maybe the one to focus on as teams like have like a shortened time when they only have like a week or they have a shortened time to develop these products? Do you have any advice?
For building a product, the most important part is the uniqueness of the product itself. So it really, because I have to say it in this way. So if you're building a tech product, or not making bread or something, but if you're building a tech product, you need to have your uniqueness. Why you? Why not the others? Because in the market must have a lot. So that is the very first thing is you need to find your core values that why you, always why you. That's the first thing. Second thing is the core thing of how you're going to win this kind of hackathon or win the product is how you're going to marketing or how you're going to present it. The major reason why is a lot of presentation, the product is really good. Let's say the tea that I'm drinking is so good. But the point is if there's no marketing, no material, nobody knows what is it. So how are you going to package it? How are you going to deliver your message? How are you going to deliver your brand message to people? That is really core important thing. And a lot of companies, a lot of hackathons, they mostly because of the team because they are all classmates. So they are all classmates, so they have the same background, same kind of knowledge. So either they are all everybody from same marketing, everybody all from same programming. So you need to have a diversified team in order to nail down all the things that you really want to do. And the most important thing is, no matter how good is your product is, but if your marketing is not in place, so nobody knows. So no matter you're doing a hackathon, it's a training or it's a revealing process for you in order to, from 0 to 1 all the way in order to build something. But think of an easier way to present your product and your project in a good way. And tell people the core value that why I need to choose you, not the others. Then you win. Yeah? Any more questions? Feel free to ask. I have 7 minutes left. Sorry to bear with me. My voice is horrible. Oh, God. Any more questions? By the way, before I start my business, I also joined quite a lot of hackathon when I'm doing my student time. So it's like 10 years ago, something like that. But at that moment, they don't say hackathon. They just say entrepreneur contest or something. So to be honest, a lot of startups that some of the startup friends that I see or today, some of them, literally you can see they're actively hanging around in this kind of competition and stuff. It's like, oh, I'll see you again, something like that. So it's always like that. So get a better use of this kind of opportunity, meet more friends. These kind of friends, they're gonna be useful in some days. It doesn't have to be in your partner. Maybe some of days it's gonna be your best friends or whatever it is, because they in the field, they have similar mindset with you. Then that is the core thing. Yeah, I guess it's gonna be the last questions.
I think that's really good advice. So thank you so much, Miss Lam. I think there's no more questions.
Okay.
So thank you so much for coming to speak with us. And I think everyone got a lot out of this session, and I think this was a really great inspiration for everyone who's coming up with their products over the next couple of days. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, Ms. Lam, I'd just like to echo that and just like to say that I'm a personal big fan. I've heard 3 of your talks now at Unitar, Cyberport, and now this one. So yeah, it's a real pleasure to have Ms. Lam come around here. So I guess
Not my best day. Really not
no,
my best.
it was still very inspirational, and just thank you so much for making the time for students that are in high school and middle school, And yeah, I hope that they all got inspired in some sense, and they can sort of implement a lot of the inspiration they got from you to their own products and present them next week. So yeah, you're free to go. Please rest up soon and take care of your fever. And yeah, everyone, yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll start the Teams workshop in 5 minutes. Thank you, Ms. Lam.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Miriam, I think you can stop recording. Is James Song here?